Tough times come to all of us, but thriving through tough time is also made possible by God for each of us. Tough times are so common that we develop language that are descriptive, like when the tough times arrive, the tough get going, or let's say for a rainy day, or a married couple will say for better or for worse. We build buildings with the safety valve of when the tough time arrives called exit for the emergency. Every school has a fire drill. Every good golfer has a sand wedge for when he or she hits into the sand or to the rough. Every football team prepares for the 2-minute drill coming from behind at the end of a game. And so it is in our lives. God gives us a resiliency to rise above the difficulty. The Psalms are literature, a prayer, written exactly to help people through tough times. Certainly through the COVID-19 period and beyond, we know the feel of rugged periods. And the rugged period then provides for us a way to smoothen out by having a character that has been shaped by faith that turns our fear into faith and our faith into faithfulness. Psalm 27 puts it this way: "The Lord is my light and my salvation. Whom shall I fear? Well, the Lord is my stronghold of my life. Of whom shall I be afraid?" If we only focus on the fear, the danger, then fear will overwhelm us. Fear will win. But when we see the fear as a threat, and maybe it's an appropriate threat, we have to make that determination. Is this real or not real? But if it is real, then we may rise together because we're willing to recognize the problem. We're willing to pull together our resources as a response to the problem. And we're willing to let ourselves relax in God's presence so that our wits can be about us, our heart can be filled with courage, and our hands can be steady. And in the midst of this, we can be known as a people who rise and are defined by how to thrive through tough times. And so it was that David, who is the writer of Psalm 27, wrote, "When the armies begin to march, I will not be controlled by fear. When someone declares war against us, I will not tremble. I will have a sense of steadiness because my sight is on God and the God's resources that are provided. One thing I ask from the Lord," David prayed, "this only do I seek, that I may dwell in the Lord's presence all the days of my life, during the troubled moments as well as during the easy moments. For when the day of trouble arrives, he will keep me safe within his presence." Now the presence may be with me in the midst of the storm, in the midst of the battle, but his presence is with me, allowing me then to be at my best as I allow God's best to be at work through me. And even in the midst of the danger, the psalmist wrote, "I can sing, I can make music to the Lord, because my music is part of my prayer response to the danger which is before me." And so we pray to the Lord. "Hear my voice when I call, Lord. Be merciful to me and answer me." My worst fear can be is that God has forsaken me, he's abandoned me. But no, that's never the case. We may let fear create a wall between us and where God is, but when we let our faith take down the bricks of the wall, we discover that he's always been here with us. He's always been available. And we pray then, "Lord, as David said, don't hide your face from me. Do not turn your servant away in anger, that you will give me your grace and you will give me your strength." We can go ahead and name our fear about God and God's presence and his capacity to help us. Because in naming that, then we've gotten rid of the fear. We have gotten rid of what is never going to be true, God abandoning us, and knowing that he is steady. And so the psalmist said, "Teach me your way, O Lord. Lead me in a straight path." In the midst of this, in regular moments, trusting in God and living in God's ways, then we're ready when the most difficult moments arrive. If we only wait for the danger to be there before we decide to trust in God, then we don't have the experience within us to let his calm to be the source of our center. So if you're waiting for a medical result, you have to have a hard conversation with your husband or your wife or your children or someone at work. When you're looking in the mirror and you realize you need to do a self-talk with each other, in the midst of that difficulty, take a deep breath and say, "I'm seeking Lord, your promise, and that I will allow you to be at work in my life as I lean into your presence. And so David wrote, I remain confident in this. I will see the goodness of the Lord in the land of the living. Wait for the Lord. Be strong and take heart. Wait for the Lord. The word wait means to hope, that we are hoping in the Lord that gives courage into our heart and enables us to see a victory in the midst of the battle. God's great promise for you is that you can thrive through life's tough times. You may have seen tough times in the past that gives you confidence for his presence in the day. You may see storm clouds on the horizon. You know that it's coming, but you allow then the light of your salvation to shine upon the darkness of that challenge. You may allow yourself to be calm by being centered in the Lord who's the light of your salvation.